to the very final play. The Bills were down 1 with 5 seconds to go. Buffalo opts to go for 2 points to win it all. Josh Allen can't connect with wide receiver Khalil Shakir. Game over. Buffalo falls to the Eagles 13-12. Welcome into Bills Postgame Live. He's Hall of Famer Steve Tasker. I'm Maddy Glab. Steve, Buffalo didn't score till the final 5 minutes of the game. It was a disjointed performance by the offense. An off night for a Buffalo offense who is averaging 29 points per game.
Yeah, they struggled in the first half on third down, and the defense couldn't get the Eagles off the field on third down in the first half as well. But the Bills did it to themselves, and they were playing a good defense. The defensive front of Philly is top-notch. Jalen Carter back in the lineup today. They really manhandled the Bills up front, and the Bills kind of had to work around it. Now, still, they rushed the ball okay tonight, but it wasn't their usual output. This is a game that, as much as you want to say it, you knew it was going to be a rock fight. These two teams come in, they're really tough to beat. The last time they played 2 years ago, it was a last-second field goal that won it for the Eagles in a rainstorm, just like tonight. You knew the Bills were not going to be held scoreless the entire game. They came back, gave themselves a chance. There's going to be an interesting point as well. The way the Philly offense was playing at the end of the game, I'm sure somebody's going to question the fact, why'd you go for 2? Take them to overtime. Their offense was dead in the water, and you were moving the football well at the end of the game. You could have done it, but that's he said, she said. At the end of the game, Joe Brady called a play. Khalil Shakir came wide open. Josh couldn't get enough on the ball, couldn't put it on him, and that was the game right there. The block PAT came back to haunt them. All they needed was another PAT to win it. They didn't get either one of them. Josh
Allen, the best quarterback in the NFL in the fourth quarter, leads the league in touchdowns, but in this game fell short of defeating the Philadelphia Eagles. James Cook, also a fire starter for Buffalo's offense, struggled in this game. Just 74 rushing yards going into this game. He had a 6-game streak of at least 110 scrimmage yards. Josh Allen now at the podium for Buffalo. Let's hear what he had to say after this tough loss.
Last play there, it looked like you had him. What is that?
Yeah, I just missed. Rolling left. Got to give him a better ball.
You guys had a little extra time to decide to go for 2. Just what were those conversations like when you were getting ready for that play?
Just getting to a play that we like. Again, it was there, and I got to make it.
How much did your foot impact you?
0.
You guys offensively, good defense. What took you guys a while to start putting together drives that gave you a chance to score points?
Got to be better at the details. Couldn't tell you exactly. Got to go in and watch this and learn from it.
Does the reality hit you that you're not going to win the division now, first time in a long time?
Yeah. That sucks. Not giving ourselves a chance. We're still in the playoffs, and that's the main thing.
How are you feeling in terms of your foot or ankle or anything? Did anything get aggravated because of the...
I'm good.
Josh, you had a big chunk run in the first quarter off the QB draw. It seems like y'all kind of went away with that, especially like on 3rd and 1. Like, did that ever occur, like to try to get that going again?
It occurred, but just trying to fill out the game and just running what's called.
How much does like bubble screens take away an element of your game?
What do you mean?
Like, you're throwing the ball laterally, it don't give you a chance to really scan the field, work a true progression, and make a clear-cut decision from the pocket.
Those have been really good for us. So I don't think it takes anything away from us. It adds another element that people have to think about.
Josh, you say this today, and you said it before. Running what's called is what's being called good enough.
Absolutely, we have to execute.
What did Brandin Cooks give you yesterday?
He had some juice, some downfield passing game. Made a really good catch there in that fourth quarter. We're going to need more of that moving forward.
What did Philadelphia do, defensively that kept you guys out of rhythm all game?
Well, they got a good front. They got a good defense. That's the defending Super Bowl champs for a reason. They had a good plan. They get paid on that side of the football too. So, again, it just comes down to us executing, making one more play than they did, and obviously we saw that we didn't make that last play. I didn't make that last play. So, yeah.
We can see the frustration, obviously, but the belief in your coaching staff to go there. What does that mean to you in understanding, obviously, you guys still have games to be played?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. Again, we can learn a lot from this experience. Would rather won and learn from that too, but again, I got to make a play.
Thanks, everybody.
That was Bills quarterback Josh Allen saying we can learn a lot from this game. Allen said, hey, I'd rather learn from a win than a loss, but this is what we're faced with. Buffalo's offense had a hard time getting in a rhythm in this game. Their first points didn't come until the fourth quarter. It was a type of game where it was one step forward, two steps back for Buffalo's offense. Allen would find a receiver down the sideline for 10 yards, and then they would struggle to get 3 or 4 yards on the next 2 plays. It led Buffalo to get off the field quickly in the first half, and in the second half, Buffalo started to put it together. But you need 2 halves of consistent football against a Philadelphia Eagles team that on defense is the 3rd best in the NFL.
Yeah, and you come up too in the second half. The Bills really took over the game offensively in the second half. They only had 12 points to show for it. Josh got stopped short. Remember, with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, he got stopped on the 4th and short. Didn't quite make any. He was this, inches short. That would have changed the game right there. He had 2 fumbles in the first half on the same series, right out of the gate. This is a game where you look at the stats, and it felt for Buffalo fans probably like Philly was really getting the best of them. It turns out Philly had less than 200 yards. They had less than 200 yards of offense. The Bills had 330. They had 11 first downs. Buffalo had 20. The time of possession, Buffalo had 35 minutes and 15 seconds. They had 24 minutes and 45 seconds. Almost every statistical thing, they had 108 yards net passing, and they find a way to win this game. The Bills have got to be kicking themselves, getting down. I think the one that got them was that 4th and short where they went for it inside the 5-yard line of Philly and came away with nothing. Then the blocked extra point. I mean, this is a game that just slipped away from Buffalo. And Philly's got to feel pretty good about coming into this building and beating this team. But it was a rock fight. And the Bills didn't pick up big enough rocks until too late in the game.
While the stats were in Buffalo's favor, it was a game of missed opportunities for Buffalo. In the first quarter, Josh Allen has a fumble when they're driving in Philadelphia territory. The Eagles score off of that. To start the second half, Ray Davis rips off a 37-yard return. A penalty brings them back 10 yards. And then Buffalo's defense in the first half was allowing conversions on 3rd and long. It all added up, and it held Buffalo from controlling the game from the jump.
Yeah, I don't know how this was a fumble. I mean, he throws this right at the feet of the guys sitting there, and Josh knew his arm was going forward. It came out, went straight to the ground, right forward to the ground off the guy. I don't know how that's a fumble, but it was upheld. But, I mean, it looks like he throws it right at the guy's feet. And it was upheld by replay, so somebody's going to have to explain it to me. Intent's irrelevant. Intent is irrelevant. There's no tuck rule anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get that one. But that's a missed opportunity, like you said. He also had another. That was after another fumble earlier in that drive as well, where he mishandled the snap, had to fall up for a 6-yard loss. All of a sudden, it's 2nd and 16. It's a crusher, and that's what happened throughout the first half. The Bills really looked like they couldn't get out of their own way. They got a couple of calls from the officials, that a tripping call on a punt coverage that didn't get called, and it was a penalty against Buffalo. All kinds of stuff like that happened. Still 13-0 at the half, and you think, you're still in there. We've seen this team come back,
exactly.
And they put together another excellent second half of football to get back into this game, give themselves a chance. And they just couldn't get it done. The margins are too thin against a team that won the world championship just 9 months ago.
You want a big play wide receiver? Can I interest you in Brandin Cooks? 4 catches for 101 yards. 1 went for 50. Had some big time plays that set the Bills up for some scoring opportunities. Cooks was in the locker room after the game. Let's hear what he had to say.
What was the difference today for you guys to be able to hook up on a couple of balls?
I just think the daily approach, every single day, going to work and knowing at some point it's going to come.
Yeah. How did you guys kind of find your way late and be able to kind of make this one a game down to the end?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this team is a bunch of resilient guys. We never feel like we out of it, and things wasn't going our way early on as an offense, but we continue to fight and try to make it a game, but ultimately came up short.
With that, what do you think the issues were, especially those first 3 quarters?
I had to go watch the film. Obviously something biting ourselves in the foot, trying to stay ahead of the change, but got to go back and watch the film and make those corrections and get better this week.
Is this a bit of a wake-up call for you guys? I know you've been here for all of them, but this team's been doing this a lot where you get behind and try and pull it out late, and obviously doesn't become a...
You got to give credit to a great team, obviously, in Philly, but at the end of the day, it was one of those playoff-type games. We're going to learn from it. What Coach McDermott talked about, if we learn from this, special things can come from it, and I think we will.
Can this team afford to keep it behind like they have been? I mean...
At the end of the day, until that clock says 0-0, like I said, I feel like this team has always felt like we in it, no matter what's going on.
Brandin, do you feel like you're...
Cooks has been a nice addition to Buffalo's roster, signed by the Bills in late November. On this team less than a month and has a breakout game against the Eagles. 4 catches for 101 yards. He was important in this game.
He has been frustratingly close the last few games.
Yeah.
Even the first game he came in where he tipped the ball on the first play of the first series of the game and couldn't pull it in. It was incomplete. Then he had another drop against Cleveland as well. This one he pulls in and then came up with some other plays as well in this game that were absolutely huge. This one got him off to the start and got you thinking like maybe this was going to be the night. Certainly having him there and being able to push this ball down the field. Now they didn't hook up on all of them, but having the ability and a guy to go down there and spread the field like that certainly is going to be something that will serve the Bills well as this season draws to a close here. It's good that he's showing up now at least, right? It's good. At least he didn't show up the first month of the season and disappear. So we'll see if he can continue that. But this is a good sign for him going forward in this last week, getting into the playoffs, and maybe getting some help for Josh on the outside.
Cooks, as a journeyman, been with 6 different teams, which includes Buffalo in his 12th NFL season, and good to see him making plays here at the end of December. Buffalo struggled in terms of setting the line of scrimmage. They didn't get their run game going until later in the game. James Cook finishes with 74 rushing yards. We're used to seeing him go over 100 game after game. Why did Buffalo struggle to run the football consistently?
Because of the quality of their defensive front. They are really big, really physical and athletic. You'll see most of the plays that the Bills run, this is the play that the only quarterback run that Josh ran. Most of their running plays, with few exceptions, were bounce backs and cutbacks because Philly can hold the line of scrimmage. Those 2 big guys down inside are really good at holding the line of scrimmage, and we saw it even in the passing game how they can get a lot of penetration and they can just kind of walk offensive linemen back into the quarterback's lap. We saw it all night. It's Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are absolutely fantastic players. Byron Young, Ty Robinson, Moro Ojomo. They've got some big athletic dudes up there. And it's really the strength of their team. They set the tone. They're a problem for every offensive line the Eagles face. That's how good they are. And the Bills saw that tonight. They knew that going in. But to still rush for 120 net yards, pretty good night by the Bills. Certainly they held their own, but it took them a long time to get there. I think the consistency was great. James Cook had 74 yards rushing. His long was only 10 yards. So it was a grinded out game for him, and they were able to stay with it. And, of course, the defense gave an absolutely outstanding performance in the second half that gave the Bills' offense a chance to find its rhythm finally.
Josh Allen said a couple of weeks ago, James Cook is what makes our offense go. Cook was going in spurts tonight, but not consistently against a great defensive line in the Eagles. You said the Eagles' defensive line can hold the line of scrimmage. In addition to that, Josh Allen was sacked 5 times. When you're facing a defensive line like that, what are the answers on offense?
Well, you saw them try to go to it, and the Eagles know this. They know that teams attack them this way, those quick screens of the bubble, and they're all over it. They're used to seeing those. They know where their defense is vulnerable. They know the buttons that offenses try to push to overcome the presence of their front 4. So they're kind of on top of those quick bubble screens. That's why I think, too, Josh did have a couple of instances where he could push the ball down the field when he did find some time to get the ball out. A couple of fantastic catches, one by Tyrell Shavers on the near side down towards the tunnel. He climbed the ladder and got it. Huge play. The Bills had to have it, and he brought it down for him. Cooks also had, it wasn't just a 50-yarder to begin the game. It was also a couple of catches later in the game that really came through. Dawson Knox had a couple of catches as well, but the way that you have to attack the vulnerability of a defense, they get used to seeing it. And you can tell with Cooper DeJean, who's an outstanding, they use him as a nickel corner. He's kind of a safety corner. Really a smart player, and they are really good on the edges. Their roster is extremely good, and they're used to seeing the kind of attack that the Bills put forth. Even though the Bills were trying to throw some wrinkles in there, they just see it all the time. And that's, they're smart. They're a good football team, and that's why they made the Bills pay for attacking them the way other teams have tried to.
Philadelphia's defense is allowing just 19 points per game, third best in the NFL. The Bills scored just 12 against them tonight. Wide receiver Khalil Shakir led the team in catches, had 6 catches for 35 yards. He was in the locker room after the game.
In the corner, did you get through there without any problem?
Yeah, I feel like, obviously a play that we've been working in. It was there. Me personally, I feel like maybe I could have came out, break a little faster, and help 17 out, and just make myself a little more available.
Did you think his path to you was blocked? Is that why the block? It was hard to tell from the far end. Did you see him maybe have to adjust? That's why he threw a bad ball to you, or what happened? There was a guy in the way there?
I gotta go back and look at it. In the moment things are moving so fast, so I just gotta go back and look at it.
What were you thinking at the end there? Did you know right away you guys were going to go for 2, or did you just wait? Obviously, you had to make the 4th down play to get the touchdown. Did you know right away you guys were going to go for 2?
We're obviously ready for whatever, whether it's 2, 1, whatever it is. Obviously, we went for 2 there, and
The reality of not winning the division, is that, it's only 10 minutes, but is it sunk in yet?
Nah, man, I'm still thinking about this game and spots during the game, especially early, where I could have been a lot better for, obviously, 17 and the offense, and even on punt return, where I could just be better. Like I said, I got to figure out a way to get going earlier and help this team out.
And it's a loss, and loss sucks, especially like this, but you still play next week, and you still play the week after that. What solace can you take in knowing this isn't a season ender, and you still have a lot to play for?
Yeah, obviously our 24-hour rule, I've said before after we won, but it also goes for an L as well. We get back, in tomorrow and watch the film and see where we can be better and pick things up and, right back to work after that.
Is it kind of a wake-up call? You guys have been on the other side of it. You guys have been able to pull these ones out to kind of had the urgency to not dig yourself in these types of holes.
Yeah, like I said, it's obvious that, like I said before, things need to get, picked up a little bit faster than we have been. Just need to be better. That's all.
Thanks, Glab.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Khalil Shakir asked about the fact that the Bills are not winning the AFC East this season, and Shakir said, look, I'm still thinking about this game, but we can talk about it. 5 straight seasons, Buffalo won the AFC East with a loss tonight against the Eagles. Buffalo will be held from doing so, and New England takes over as the division champs in 2025. If Buffalo were to win out and not the Eagles, but the Patriots were to lose 1 before the season ended, the Bills would have been division champs. It's a tough pill to swallow because Buffalo has dominated the division for so long, and it comes to an end this year. That doesn't mean it has to be over for the next several years, but one year down.
Yeah. And it came down to the Bills dropping some games early in the year that they shouldn't have dropped. Even the Patriots game at home and against a really good Patriots team, the Bills turn it over, really kind of unforced. That gives the Patriots a chance to win that game with a last-second field goal. And then the Miami game down there where the Bills go in and just absolutely just sleptwalked through that game and gave up a really the worst loss of Josh Allen's career to the Dolphins. Games like that early in the season, you can't make those up. And then when other teams catch fire, they have a kind of a little bit different schedule than you do. You can't catch them. And that the division title, I'm sure it's a bitter pill to swallow, but that's really been one of the things about this Bills team over the course of the Sean McDermott era. They do have, sometimes they give you that feeling that they play down to whoever it is. Like tonight, they were playing the defending world champions, and it was a one-point game. And then they go to a place like Miami, who is on fire and leaking oil, and they lose by 21 or whatever it was. That's been a problem for this team. Good news is they don't have any of those teams left. Well, in the playoffs.
Right.
They're going to get in the playoffs. They're going to meet some really good teams, and they'll rise up. And usually Josh plays his best in those critical moments. The way he did tonight when it got closer and closer, where they're 2-minute warning and they're still a touchdown down and they haven't done anything, they turned it on and they push it in. They get the score that they needed and just missed the 2-point. But losing the division on a night like this against the world champions, yeah, it's tough. A tough pill to swallow. And hopefully it'll give them a chip on their shoulder going forward.
The Bills go 3-2 in the division so far. They finish out the season with a game at home against the New York Jets. That Miami Dolphins loss that you were talking about in Week 10, Buffalo lost 30-13. It was the only other game this season where Buffalo was held scoreless through the first 3 quarters, and Buffalo did so again tonight against the Eagles. But you got to talk about Buffalo's defense in the second half. Buffalo's defense gave Buffalo's offense every opportunity to get back in this game. The defense allowed just 16 total yards in the second half against a team who has Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. That's insane.
It is, and you really didn't get an idea of it. Jalen hadn't completed a pass in the second half for a long time. They were really struggling to move the football, and unlike the first half where, even Saquon Barkley nicked him for a few runs. He had one long run of 16 yards, and then he was 18 carries for 52 yards. It was not pretty for their run game or their offense, and all night. I mean, they scored 13 points, 1 touchdown. I was surprised. I got to say it. I was surprised. They came out of the gate, and I know it's raining, but
throwing the football.
They're playing against a run defense in Buffalo that's not very good. It hasn't been very good. And they came out and threw it 3 straight times right out of the gate today, and was a 3-and-out. I was shocked by that. I really was. And so the Eagles have their own problems. They're flawed just like Buffalo is. Buffalo really did step up a great deal in the second half, like you thought they might. You were hoping they would. We've seen this movie before, right? But in the other movies, they make the 2-point conversion and it's all forgiven, right? Not tonight. They got to take their loss against a team that's very good, very talented, and you knew you got to feel like when you could see it on Josh's face in that press conference. That's a team you got to beat. You got to beat, and they had their chance.
It's the one team Josh Allen has yet to beat in his career. If he would have beat the Eagles tonight, he would have joined Tom Brady as the only other quarterback to have beaten 31 other teams. So that chapter book is still open in terms of Josh Allen defeating the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see what happens the next time these two face each other. But Buffalo's defense in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, allows just 1 yard. Buffalo's offense goes off for 130 yards in the fourth quarter. Jalen Hurts did not complete 1 pass in the second half. A lot of opportunities given to Buffalo's offense in the second half. And hey, Buffalo took advantage of 2 of those opportunities in the fourth quarter, scoring twice to make this game go down to the final play. A missed 2-point conversion means Buffalo loses to the Eagles 13-12. Spencer Brown also in the locker room following this loss. Let's hear what the offensive lineman had to say.
3 quarters of a football game, what do you think the issues were on offense for that time?
Just wasn't executing, hurting ourselves. Just dysfunction really with the offense there. I thought we could have definitely obviously played better, but had our chances. The defense played their ass off, and they did their job, and we did ours.
How tough is it? How tough is it, Spence, for the defense to play? Especially lights out in that second half. I think they only probably had like 1 first down in that second half, and you guys were still trying to find some answers offensively there.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Defense deserves a lot of credit. They did their job, and they averaged 3 yards a play, right? So. It was awesome seeing that they do their job, but it just feels like you're letting your team down, especially when they're playing lights out, and special teams are doing their job, and we got there as an offensive unit and just piss it away.
You said dysfunction. Where are you seeing the dysfunction?
I'm sorry.
You said
what happened
go
after you had to come out of the game?
I took a strong right hook to my eyeball. Yeah.
Was it accidental?
What's up?
You think it was accidental?
Nah, I don't think so, but it was coming, I guess.
Is that what boiled over after the game as well?
Sure, you say that.
Did it come through the face mask?
Oh yeah.
How do you kind of get your bearings and then go back in?
Make sure that my vision is still good. To get checked out after this because it's still fogged over, but just go back out there and try to do your job to your best ability.
How's it right now, Spencer?
It's just fogged over, so I gotta go see the docs after this. But nothing's broken in there, but it's still like this looks like there's a haze out throughout the room. So just checking it out.
You said dysfunction with the offense. Where are you seeing that?
We gave up 4 sacks as an offensive line, so there's one, and I can't speak on the back end, but O-line we could have just played better.
This is a tough loss, but it's not a season ender. You have next week to play for. You have a lot more to play for after that. Yeah. How do you compartmentalize that to make sure you put that in the right spot?
You want to win every game, and we're in the playoffs, so I guess that's the cherry on top for us. But we're competitors. We try to win every single weekend, and we lost them. We played them at home last year, or whenever that was. But felt we could have won that one. Felt we could have won this one. So take your licks and keep moving on, and we'll look forward to the Jets.
You guys have found yourself in the position where it's kind of been slow starts, but you've been able to overcome it in the second half. But when you look at the common theme here, what do you think it is that's kind of allowing you guys to get into that hole and need to dig yourself out?
I think first down is the biggest key for us. Any offense that wants to be successful, once you get into second and long, the playbook shrinks, and you have to really start going deep into the archives to find something that works. And the defense play lights out. They have a good defense, good front. Their back end solid. So, hats off to them.
So as much as you guys are confident coming back late and showing it again today, how dangerous you can be, is this game a reminder about how dangerous it is to do that over and over and over?
I don't think we expect to be down by 10, 13, or 24 points and then come back and try to, expect to win. Luckily that helped us in the last 3 weeks, though, playing tough football, and it's not something to be proud of to say every single weekend. Oh yeah, we came back 20 points, came back 14 points. Like, no one wants to be in those shoes, and we just got to execute better and take the load off all the other guys.
How are you processing / enjoying, though, when you did have a chance to flip the switch? You guys seem to do it again, and it's like, well, we can do this.
It feels pretty good if you can. Defense has to feel pretty good about themselves. Offense, we had, I don't know how many series we had, but we pride ourselves in being a good offense. We didn't show that tonight, and we wanted it. We wanted the ball in our hands, with the game on the line, and that's what we got, and we just didn't execute. But guys don't stop playing. That's what I like about this team, and they just finish to the end. It doesn't matter. We don't look at the clock and just keep on going and let the chips fall where they may.
What was your reaction to the decision to go for 2 at the end instead of kick the extra point?
I think it's just belief in 17 and him to make a play for us, and we all believe in the world in him. That's exactly what I wanted to. Kicking it and putting it in overtime just strings the game out. We had a chance to win it right there, so we're going to take our chances, and
Thanks, Spence.
Spencer Brown had a great point when talking about the offense's inconsistency against the Eagles. Brown said first down is the biggest key for us. Buffalo had 15 third downs in this game, went 6 of 15, but when you're getting into third down that many times, you have to dig deeper into the playbook to find something that's going to work.
Yeah, and they really struggled in the first half. Second half, they kind of got on. Yeah, they were 1 of 4 in the first half, which really it contributed to their problems, and they put themselves in the bad spots as well. 2 fumbles on the same drive by Josh Allen. We've never seen that before. The one was the fumbled exchange with the center, Connor McGovern, and then the other one was the throw that got batted backwards that was called a fumble. You never see that, but that's what really did it to them. They had 3 punts, a fumble lost, and that was about the first half. It was a very quick, fast-played game. It was a running clock almost, it seemed like, because of the running game of both teams was a factor, particularly in the first half. Very quick first half. And I think the inconsistencies come from obviously playing a good team. They're fresh off a world championship. But finding a way to figure it out, not just the coaches and scheme and that, but physical matchups, particularly up front. You heard Spencer Brown. Those guys, those guys were good. They got 4 sacks on our offensive line. You usually don't see that, particularly the way they happened. Guys were getting forklifted back into Josh, and Early in the game, Josh did not look like he was ready to move around a little bit. He had trouble, and I'll say this too: this defensive front also is the only defensive front I've seen who, when they got a hand on Josh Allen didn't break the tackle. Very few broken tackles by Josh early on in this game, and it led to sacks. That's what made me think Josh wasn't right, but I think in hindsight, I think those guys tackle really well, the defensive front four of the Eagles. I think they get hands on and they don't let go, and I think Josh had trouble breaking those grips. That was something we weren't used to seeing as well. Josh, there's a handful of plays in the first half that you can, as Bills fans will know from watching this team play, there were a handful of plays in the first half that would have been extended by Josh's athleticism that weren't because of the defensive front of the Eagles.
Josh Allen was hit 7 times, sacked 5 times. What did you see from Vic Fangio's approach in terms of pass rush?
Well, he's got 4 good pass rushers, 2 very big dudes up front that just came straight ahead. They did bring some extra pressure, and they forced James Cook to really meet up with a linebacker a couple of times. But Josh was patting the ball a little too much, and then when he tried to do too much, right here you see it. They got him on the ground. Josh got caught a couple of times tonight trying to do a little too much, and you can say you'd love to see guys help him a little more than they were able to, but I think this comes down to Josh not wanting to give up on a down, even on the second or third down.
Yeah.
He would like to see him go. He would like to see him throw this away, and then because they were in field goal range, and that points were a premium tonight, and it cost them.
This game does not reflect on Josh Allen's entire career. He continues to etch his name in record books, and with his 2 touchdowns today, Allen just needed 1, but with that touchdown today, Allen now becomes the fastest player in age and fastest in games played, 127, to reach the 300 mark in terms of touchdowns. In the second half, Allen gives his team a chance to win it. This has been a second half team, and his 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter gave Buffalo a chance to win this one.
Yeah, and it really was uncomfortable, I think, for Bills fans. I think it was weird for the team, too, not to be able to score points. This is something that Josh does by habit. Nobody has ever scored touchdowns like Josh has in his first 8 years. I mean, the record proves it. He's got 301, faster than anybody in the history of the league. We just used to seeing this team run it up, or at least be able to score fast. They scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. It was too little, too late. And, everything's got to be, when you push your margins as the way the Bills have done at times this season, everything else has got to click. You can't have a PAT blocked, and you can't miss a 2-point. The margins are just too thin, and in a game like this, it costs them.
We've got one defensive player in the locker room. We'll hear from Shaq Thompson right now.
This is all the time, right? Like, stop 26, stop the run, right? And Saquon is one of the best backs in the league, right? And you got to watch out for him. He had one good run, and that was on us. We allowed him to get that run, but it was still a run that we gave up.
How much you guys did some different things with the rush, sometimes a little delayed pressure. I think you only got him once, but you moved him around quite a bit in the pocket.
Yeah, shout out to Bobby. Bobby had a good game plan. He dialed it up on third down, and the guys went out there and executed, and we got off the field, right? That's the biggest thing. I think last week we weren't able to get off the field on third downs, and we were able to get off, so shout out to them, shout out to the guys who go out there and performed.
What is it about this defense, the staff, that you guys are able to really tighten up so much in the second half when you come out? You've done it on a regular basis here, really, over the last half of the season.
Guys just lock in, I guess, just go out there and play better, right? But we can't, going into the playoffs, it can't be a second half team. Got to start off hot from the jump.
Shaq, you've been fighting to get back, maybe with a shot at the division title. Now that that's over, does that change anything, the mindset, anything a little different for you guys going forward?
No, we're getting ready for these playoffs. You know what I mean? It's cool to get a division, but we're trying to hold that Lombardi at the end of the day. And we're going to take it one game at a time. We'll go back Monday, watch this film, get ready for the Jets, and then after that, get ready for the playoffs.
Thank you, Shaq.
All right, we've gotten to watch this Buffalo team for almost an entire season. One game left in the regular season before Buffalo heads to the playoffs. They've already clinched a spot in the playoffs. While they're not AFC East champs, they are still in the postseason. So with the games that we've watched, we know Buffalo is a big second half team. Shaq Thompson said, we can't just be a second half team in the playoffs. We have to put two halves of football together. How can Buffalo be that consistent team in the playoffs?
Well, first of all, they got to execute better coming out of the gate, and they got to come out with a little more energy. One of the things I thought that really gave Buffalo an edge tonight offensively was they went no huddle at times.
Yeah.
They tried to keep the big dudes of the Philadelphia Eagles on the field and went at them really fast. They did it a little earlier in the second quarter, I think, late in the first half, and they stuck with it and did a little bit more in the second half. I thought it was really effective, particularly when they were able to churn out some first downs doing it. It really showed in their ability to get better offensively. The Philly defense was out there for 35 minutes there. In the last 5 minutes of that, they were gassed, and the Bills took advantage of them. That 2-point to end the game, it came wide open. They were just a little bit, they got their eyes, they were wandering, they were kind of drifting to their left, and they didn't see Shakir break back out. It was there to be had, and Josh missed the throw. I think that was a sign of fatigue. I thought that was one of the things they pulled out of their playbook tonight that was something we don't see very often, and it was really effective for them. I think they're really good when they go a little faster.
Yeah, Buffalo has been a team in the years past, too, when they go no huddle, when they go into a 2-minute drill, you see them start to string plays together.
Josh is really good in the 2-minute.
Yeah, Buffalo did so at times today. Why does a team decide to go away from no huddle and jump back into it throughout the game?
I think the current point in history we're at in the NFL, offenses and quarterbacks, particularly guys like Josh, Mahomes, Lamar, Matt Stafford, the elite guy, Joe Burrow, they like as much pre-snap information as they can possibly get. If they can, because their offenses are so diverse and so flexible, these quarterbacks can make calls at the line of scrimmage and be pretty specific in what they're calling against the exact defense they think they're going to get. And by telling them and by sending guys out, bringing them back in, motioning a different guy, they get more and more information. And when you're doing that, you're not going no huddle. In fact, you're slowing it down and you're using up every second of the play clock. That's just the trend in the NFL right now, and that's when offenses feel like they can be most effective and, more importantly, the most efficient. They stay on the field, they get the most out of every drive, they get the most out of every play, and all this, the little minutia of the details gets taken care of a little bit better when they have more information before the snap. And that's why defenses like Buffalo and others, they're really good when they disguise their defenses pre-snap. Buffalo's Sean McDermott's always been known for that. It's one of the things he's been known for doing the best. And that's exactly in the face of the trend that offenses are setting. If they don't know what you're going to run, that gives you an edge defensively. And that's why you see every team in the NFL running guys out, motioning them, and changing formations and shifting, and then using every second of the play clock. It's all about finding out what the defense is running. When you go no huddle, that's the counter to that, and that does help you because then the defense, they're just trying to get a call, get lined up, and get set, so they really don't get as complicated either. So it's a two-edged sword. Yeah. You can gain some advantage by going fast if you can make first downs.
Bills head coach Sean McDermott now speaking to media at the podium.
Okay, hard-fought game. Came up, on the short end of it here. Thought there were some good things in the game that we can build off of, and then some things definitely that we have to make sure we get shored up as we move forward here. With that, the time's yours.
What went into the decision, Sean, to go for two at the end?
Wanted to be aggressive, going for the win. We feel like only a certain amount of time left at that point, and felt like we had a great call, great opportunity to go win it, and I'm going to be aggressive, so I'm not going to sit back.
Did having the kick blocked earlier impact your decision making?
Potentially. It wasn't everything, but I trust Josh Allen with the ball in his hands, and I'd do it over again.
Coach, how tough can it be when the defense is playing lights out and just can't get nothing going offensively there?
Yeah, some games are like that, and that's a really good defense, well coached. The front four is legit, as you guys saw, and there's a reason why they won the Super Bowl last year, and they do a really good job. We had some opportunities. We didn't play as well as I would have liked to see us play, but we're going to learn some things from this game that we can do better as we move forward, and we're going to need to.
Run defense was a big topic of conversation coming into this one. Down DQ, down Jordan Phillips. What did you make of what those young defensive linemen did?
Yeah. No, I thought it was a really good effort defensively. Some things, of course, they went back as well, and some things we need to learn on that side of the ball as well. But that was a point of emphasis during the week. I thought the defensive staff did a great job with the game plan. The guys executed. They were very physical in their gaps primarily, and guys were swarming, so it was good to see.
Did you notice a change at all? Just the vibe of the defense when Shaq came in and he made a couple plays?
I don't know. I thought they were playing well prior to that. So unfortunate TB went down. Shaq came in and was ready to go, which is the important piece of that.
5 minutes though with no points. Now it's a good defense, but is that a concern? Because you're going to see defenses like that in the postseason when you get there.
No, we are, and we talked about that after the game. We've got to learn some things from this game. I know we all want to win, right? You work hard during the week. We're a very competitive group. We want to win. And I want to win, right? So you learn things from this game that we've got to get shored up if we want to advance in the playoffs, and that's what I'm mostly focused on right now.
Obviously, those guys want to score on every drive from the opening kickoff all the way through, but do you think that maybe there might be a tendency within your team of, even if we don't get it going, we'll figure it out? Like, because you have pulled so many out this year. Is that a dangerous game to play?
That's not our mindset, Tim. I certainly understand why you'd ask that question because of the last few games in particular. That's not our mindset. Our mindset is to play a 60-plus minute game, whatever it takes. They were doing some things, and again, they made some stops. Really, without looking at the film, you say, hey, first down success, staying out of second down and long, staying out of third down and long. You're against a group that can flat out get after the passer, and it's not where you want to live for most of the game, and that's where I felt like we were for quite a bit of it. I did see some of the adjustments later in the game. We started getting the things, the ball out on the perimeter a little bit with the shorter passing game and out of Josh's hands into the flat. So those were good things. Hit a screen as well, a tie that got us going as well. So. Again, things we can learn that we're going to need to learn from and take forward with us as we move forward here and grow as an offense in this case.
Coach asked you about downfield passing quite a bit all season. You've completed three deep ones today. What significance can that hold for you guys? It's just you try to sort out your rotation for the playoffs and try and add another layer to your offense.
Yeah, I thought B. Cooks had a game for us. Shaves made a big play on the contested catch on our sideline there. So there was some production there, which is good to see. I believe in those guys. They work, like I told you last week, they work extremely hard, and we're going to need them to be productive for us in order to stay as a balanced offense, where the ball's just not going to one person or one position group.
Sean, where's your level of concern with the number of hits Josh has taken? He was sacked 5 times today. It's up to 40 now on the year. That's the most in his career in a single season. The punishment that he's been absorbing in some of these games, where's your level of concern with that?
No, I'm always concerned. I said this to you after the Houston game, similar type defense, right, in terms of how they're built. So you're going to see it again in the playoffs. That's usually teams that are built up front or in the playoffs, and they have long success in the playoffs. So that's a part of us making sure we're shoring that piece of what we do up. And so it's never one position group. It's never one player. It's a deal where we got to continue to grow as an offense, and I'm confident in Joe and the offensive staff. They've done a lot of good things this year, and this film will speak to us. It really will.
Where do you feel you are up front defensively?
Well, tonight, we did some things, got off the field on third down. First down was the biggest thing for us. I believe we're growing, and we need to grow. the run defense that was asked about earlier, that was good to see. So that's part of how do you get the team as good as you can get it as you move into the playoffs, and identifying and being honest with yourself of this is what needs to change, this is what needs to improve, this is where we're good, and then the who's out there, right? So you guys know we've been trying to spin the dial, trying to figure things out, and tonight I was very, very pleased with what I saw from the defensive side. It wasn't perfect, and it's not going to be perfect, but some of those young guys, and then just the overall relentless nature of the defense and getting off the field on third down.
There's no question about Josh Allen's toughness. He said the foot had zero impact on him. But how concerning is this as you kind of keep going towards the playoffs here, and that's something that looked like you had to get to look at after?
Yeah, this past week he felt better and better during the week. Went into the game, playing the game, he got sore again, and so they did the x-rays, came back negative, just wanted to make sure nothing else was going on there. So he's sore right now, but nothing new has popped up at this point.
How fierce of a competitor.
On the blocked extra point that they had when you guys scored your first touchdown, how much of that is them making a good play, and how much of it is poor execution? Like, admittedly, I don't know if that's driving, if it needs to be that low, or if they just made a great play.
Well, it was I would say their player is a great player and got penetration, so it's never usually not just one situation or one person. I think there's some things on our side we can do better also. So whether the kick needs to get up sooner in terms of the protection as well, that part as well. So it's as you guys know, it's when you're playing a good football team, it's the details matter, and every play matters. It's no different in the playoffs. Every last play is going to matter. And again, we talk about learning from tonight's game. That's an area we can learn from right there.
Coach, we know Josh is his toughest critic and the fierce competitor. On that last play, we all know he would want that back. What was your message to Josh, right after that?
Same thing. Yeah, in the locker room we talked, and I'd do it again. You got a heck of a quarterback. He's the best quarterback in the league, and I'd take him 1,000 out of 1,000 times to make that throw, and he'll make it. He will.
How close is Matt Prater to return?
Getting there. How close exactly I won't know until we get through into the start of the week this week. But from what he told me before the game, he's getting real close.
Sean, just one more on the two-point conversion. Guys from the offense were saying that it really mattered to them, the trust you had in them, showing that. Was that a factor on top of the aggressiveness of the play calling, just showing guys that you believe in them going into the playoffs?
That wasn't why I did it, but I appreciate them feeling that, and that's important as a coach. You want your players to know that you believe in them, and I do. And like I said, every situation is different. So a certain amount of time on the clock, maybe we kick the extra point, maybe not. But you're trying to read the game, and then at the end of the day, as I've said before, I trust those guys, and I trust Josh Allen.
Sean, knowing that you're going to be playing a playoff game in 2 weeks, what's your priority for next week in terms of the roster?
Yeah, where do you want to start? We got a lot of things we need to discuss as a leadership group, and you got the last game in Highmark Stadium here. That's important to me. It'll be important to our guys, to our staff. Then there's other things that come into consideration, So it won't be easy, but it is important that we have a good week here.
Sean, you set a standard for winning the division, and it's not going to happen this year. I know that's a goal at the beginning of the year. Does the mindset change at all? Is anything different now that it's going to be different now going forward?
In terms of?
Well, since they've clinched the division, that's what I mean. So,
like with what?
No, just in a sense of I know that's your
because
goal
it was 5 years in a row, and then this year they won it. Are you saying because it was 5 years in a row, and then this year they won it?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what your Mike. Help me out here.
Well, that's all. I just meant that is always.
Am I disappointed? Am I? Does it make me happy?
No.
I'm asking. I'm searching for what you want from me.
I just meant your mindset.
The answer is no. It doesn't make me happy. But go ahead.
Okay. I just meant in terms of that's been your goal at the beginning of the year. We're chasing that up till tonight, and now that that's over, anything change for your team?
No. We focus on getting better. That's the piece we can control, Mike. And I'm respectfully with your question. I'm I want to give you a respectful answer. It is important that we win the division. It's something we've taken a lot of pride in. That's obviously not in our control anymore, so we've got to focus on, as I've said before, here's where we're at. What are we going to do to shore things up? What are we going to do to learn from this game? And it's easy to say learn, but what are the hot spots that, hey, could become an Achilles heel if we don't fix it, right? And how do we fix it? Do we fix it with, different schematics, or do we fix it with different, approach or personnel? What is it, right? So we all want to win the game, but there's also things you learn from what unfolded on that field tonight.
What explanation were you given? Any further update on TV?
Say it again.
Any further update on TV?
Just a calf. I don't know the extent of it, Atlanta right now, but he was not able to return in the game.
What explanation, Anthony, were you given on the fumble in the first half with Josh?
Yeah, not much, really. Just what I saw on our video board was Josh's hand disappear, and then on time, I would say his hand disappears between, on the video shot at least, and the ball comes out down. So I didn't have a better replay of what was going on, but it did not look like there was a grab of the ball, and then the ball comes out, a split second later. It just looked like his hand came down, the ball flew out at the same time, and it was able to fumble. So I trust that they, looked at it with the fine-tooth comb there and ruled like they did. So that's nothing we can do about it.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Greg Russo's play the last few weeks?
Yeah, last week obviously had the big game. Was very productive. Played more physical. When you rush, you got to bring a physical. That's got to be part of your toolbox. And looked like he had some production as well tonight, and especially early in the game, I think he got a hit on the quarterback there. So that'll be important for us, as I mentioned last week. That'll be important for us, Greg's play, as we move forward and try and get to how do we look in a four-man rush? So that's something those guys take a lot of pride in, and hopefully they're hitting their stride at the right time.
Coach, you're doing more with less. So you took the defending world champions to the wire, down a point. I know immediately, you haven't watched film, but what immediately did you learn from this?
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't all. The loss is the loss, but you got to look at the process and really hone in on what was good, and make sure we double down on those things so the players understand that this is what it's going to take. What you just did right here, this is what's going to work for us as we move forward. And then over here, this isn't. And then we look at ourselves as coaches, and you say, hey, what can we get better at? So you're constantly trying to retool and tweak things to get your team as good as it can possibly be.
Sean, is there any Ed Oliver update?
Nothing that I can talk about right now. I think he's moving in a good direction, but a little bit of a, call it, setback this past week maybe. So I don't know if it's going to affect his timeline or not. I don't know enough yet, but that's all I have for you right now. And if and when I do get something more, I'll get it to you.
The Patriots winning today made your odds or your chances that much longer to win the division. So going into the game, did that factor into your decision whether to go for two versus extending it? Would you have extended it if you had a greater chance to win the division?
We talked about that before the game. We always kind of talk about, especially late in the year, what does a tie do? What is, especially with overtime, what does a tie do? What does, a win do? Obviously, you start there and then you kind of go down from there. So, again, I'll tell you this, and separate from the, what was going on there, it's we play to win, and I coach to win. So if I had to do all over again, I'd do the same darn thing, and he would make the throw. So.
To Jay's question earlier about the hits.
Because I believe in him. I believe him.
To Jay's question earlier about Josh taking the hits, did that have any factor in going for it, knowing hey, maybe he is a little bit banged up and we have one play here, as opposed to taking it potentially into overtime and maybe exposing him or making something worse?
Coming into the game, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have my eyes on Josh, right? Just because of how important he is to us, and we're in the playoffs. But I also know who he is, and he's as competitive as there is and as good as there is. But I also have a responsibility to protect him, to make sure he's as healthy as possible for us as we move into the playoffs. So that's what I think during the week somebody asked about it a little bit, or about looking at more than one thing, and I was like, that's what I was referring to when I said kind of multitasking. But I also don't want to introduce that into the team, into his mindset, nor the team's mindset of, hey, if I'm going to pull him. No, so we had eyes on him. I had eyes on him. So did Nate, and you got to know, to get 17 off the field, you're going to have to. I'm going to have to wrestle him, basically.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
This week's game is presented by T-Mark HVAC and Plumbing, the official residential HVAC partner of the Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott talked about spinning the dial on defense. Buffalo's defense did a great job of staying in their gaps and limiting Philadelphia's rushing offense. They just have 82 rushing yards when Buffalo has struggled to stop the run all season. They usually allow 144 rushing yards. They really held Saquon Barkley in this game. So good to see Buffalo do that when they were down a couple of defensive tackles.
Bills defense played great. They really did. They didn't get any help from their offense in the first half. They turned it over, and the Bills offense punted it 3 times. The field position was pretty good, although they got some help on the penalty by the Bills punt cover team and roughing the guy, interference, fair catch interference call. But they had good field position to work with in the first half. They had 1 touchdown on a short field, and they gave up 1 touchdown on a short field and 2 field goals.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's a good night. That's a good defensive performance. I don't care either half. If they gave up 13 in the second, that's 26 points. That's not all that bad in today's NFL. But they did a fantastic job. They played good all 4 quarters, and the Bills' offense really struggled. They struggled, and they did it to themselves a lot. And it was a number of things. It wasn't only to themselves, but it was also that. And penalties hurt them a little bit, although they didn't get penalized that badly throughout the entire game. This was a defensive performance I think the defense can really hang their hats on. They came in against the Philadelphia Eagles with Saquon Barkley. They held him to 68 yards, 3.6 per carry. It was a really good game by the Bills defense, and punctuated by a second half where they shut him out and didn't get him. They gave him 1 first down. It was a really good defensive performance by this Bills team.
Buffalo's punched their ticket to the playoffs. They can't win the AFC East. So the question is, what do you do with your starters for the final regular season game? Sean McDermott said there's a lot to discuss this week as we lead up to the game, but we know how important this final game is because it's our last game in Highmark Stadium, and I know our players want to send it off in the right way. It will be interesting to see what Buffalo's game plan is in the final regular season game because they're the 7 seed right now. They could move up depending on what happens in the final week of the NFL.
They could move, they could move all the way to the 5. But Houston is playing Indianapolis. Houston is in. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Chargers game as well. We're going to find out what time of day the Bills-Jets game is tonight after Sunday Night Football. All that schedule will be laid out. But the New England Patriots beat the Jets today soundly with, 13 starters out, 13 starters out, something of that nature. It was an absolute drubbing, 42-10. They beat them by 32 points. And the Jets team, even their head coach, Aaron Glenn, said, I was not happy with our effort. Yep. The Jets seem to have checked out. Do the Bills rest all of their guys and put Mitch Trubisky in, put everybody in? Ray Davis takes 35 carries in the run, hit the whole thing, and still take a chance and beat the Jets and rest everybody. Give them that bye week they would like if they were the 1 seed. Are they happy in the 7 seed? Do they care? As it stands now, the Bills would go to New England to play the New England Patriots in Wild Card Weekend. Or do you try and get the 6 seed or the 5 seed and go to Jacksonville or to Pittsburgh or Baltimore, depending on who wins their game Week 18? That's a real question. Yep. How healthy can you get by giving guys a week off not to play in the game. Some of these guys would really benefit from it. Josh may be the first guy on that list. It'll be interesting to see. And the Jets looked bad today. They looked really bad today against a New England team that rested a lot of their guys. That's an interesting discussion, and it'll be interesting to see how they schedule these games over the weekend after tonight's game.
1 week remains in the regular season. The Bills will take on the Jets at home. The Jets 3-12 on the season. They've also won their last 4 games. That's going to do it for us. We want to thank you for tuning into Bills Postgame Live. For Steve Tasker, I'm Maddy Glab. We'll see you next week.